Hola amigos, we are The Roots. In this vlog we are sharing with you the ups and downs of our mission to travel and experience as much from life as possible. Please join us on this our journey. So, Mr. Root, where are we up to now?
Remember our car accident in video number 2? Well, as it turns out, we almost had a near-death experience. So now we have to rethink our way of traveling.
Hi again with The Roots.
Hi.
So you have seen our previous videos. You will know that we got into an accident in Mexico. And even though we were pretty beat up, we kept going our journey to South America. We were in pain and all, but we really didn't know how bad we were.
We weren't going to quit after the first day.
Oh, no, because that happened the first day of our journey. And let's point out that at that trip was our honeymoon. Right, so we got into an accident in Mexico the first day. We totaled my sister's car. We were in the middle of nowhere. But at the end, I mean, we went to the doctor and blah, blah, blah. Apparently, I have 2 broken ribs. And apparently, Brian was just fine.
Just fine.
Just fine.
So says the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor in Mexico said that. Then now, keep in mind that we were in a little town.
In the mountains.
In the mountains, middle of nowhere. The clinic that we were was...
Oh, geez. 10 by 10 room?
Yeah.
With 1970s equipment?
Yes, explain the x-ray machine.
So the yeah. I think I saw that same x-ray machine in the United States back in the 70s.
Yes, but you saw it shiny, nice and painted and all that. No, this x-ray machine, the cables were in the floor. We tripped on them.
Yeah.
And the paint was chipping off from the x-ray machine. Yeah, it was interesting. Anyway, so that x-ray exercise came out that he was fine. And I just have 2 broken ribs. A funny story, he broke them in the accident.
We'll get to that.
Okay, we'll get to that. So anyway, no, but explain it. What happens we got T-born?
So we're going around a corner.
Yeah.
And it's a blind corner. It's raining. We're going uphill.
And you're driving 40 miles an hour.
If
any.
So.
And this is a highway like in the Amalfi Coast, up and down and, curvy, with cliffs on one side.
Yes.
And that was the scary part. We were on our way to Tasco. It's one of those historic little towns in Mexico. They're absolutely gorgeous, but on the top of a mountain. The driving there is just treasures. And we missed our entry to the highway. This is another way to get into
the toll road.
The toll road.
Yeah.
And we missed it completely. And because I have really never drove in Mexico, we got lost. So we used the old highway to get there. And needless to say that it's very dangerous. And we were lucky though that the accident happened. It happened in a curve. The van was coming down and missed the curve and just hit us like that and pushed us out of the highway.
Pushed us off the highway completely.
Completely, but we were lucky because on that one curve there was
a little bit of dirt on the side of the road.
Before the cliff.
Another 100 feet further up was a sheer cliff.
Not even 100 feet, I would say 30 feet. It was like straight down. Anyway, we were lucky that didn't happen. So anyway, the car was total. The guy that was driving, I took pictures of everything. The guy that was driving escaped. And then I called my sister from there. My sister works for the government and she called the federales in Tasco. So the federales show up, I don't know, an hour later. We were in absolute pain. So Anyway, with the accident, we got T-boned, and all the impact was on the side of Brian. So Brian got the whole impact. And then, but he was with his hands on the, so this is what happened. I had my seatbelt, and it just went like that. And then like this. So that broke my ribs, basically. So he broke my ribs. Anyway, long story short story, police show up. The fun part was when the federales told us, get in the car. I was okay because we interacted with them already. Everything was fine.
I didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Well, no, because, in the federales, in the back of the federales, they have these metal mesh bars. So you get into the car and you don't know what will happen, right? The federales had bad reputation in Mexico, but to be honest, these guys, they were awesome. Good job, awesome guys. They were truly worried about us. They took us to the station because we needed to do, paperwork and all that. Oh, by the way, the guy that hit us escaped to the mountains.
Yes.
And one of the federales chased him with his, what was that armor that he was carrying? A K? What is that?
His rifle.
His rifle, what it was?
It was an AR.
An AR? Okay, I don't know what it is, but it looks scary. So anyway, when the federale says get in the car, Mr. Gringo, he's like, and I'm like, it's okay, you can get in. And he's like, Brian, get in the car. And he's like, and I got get in the car, damn it. You chicken out a little bit. Yeah, it was kind of a scary moment. But I knew everything was okay. I speak the language. I knew what was happening. He was confused because, people stop in the highway. Everybody tried to help us and all that. And he was in a lot of pain. Anyway, we got to the station, blah, blah, blah. The insurance show up, my sister show up, and they sent us to this little clinic. Now we described the little clinic. Anyway, so my sister was like...
Oh, and then we had to go see a judge.
Oh, then we had to see a judge, yes. For, what was that? I don't remember.
To validate the insurance claim.
Yes.
And to relieve your sister of any liability.
Yes. Okay, so anyway, we have to go to the judge. Everything was cleared up, blah, 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 because we needed to take a plane.
To Lima that night.
To Lima that night. But no, that night, really at 5 in the morning, the following morning. But the whole point of the x-rays was to see if we have any internal bleeding.
Before we fly.
Before we fly, because we could, die in the plane, kind of, right?
Possible.
So, well, apparently we did. And I say apparently, okay? We didn't have any internal bleeding. Anyway, so we continue our journey, blah, blah, blah. And we did everything. You saw the videos. We went to Lima. We went from there, we fly to Lake Titicaca. From there, we took a boat from Lake Titicaca to Amantani. And then we climbed another 1,000. Lake Titicaca is 13,000 something feet.
13,000 is the water.
Yeah.
We climbed another 1,000 plus.
Climbing, like hike it.
To the ruins.
To the ruins of the Pachatata. And then we climbed down, blah, blah, blah. It rained on us, was awesome. We were in so much pain. The thing that saved us though, on this trip, seriously, was the coca leaf tea and the muña. Yes, coca leaf. The one that they used to make cocaine. That leaf.
So basically all over the country you'll see bags of coca leaves at restaurants and hotels and such. Basically you just grab a handful of leaves, put it in your cup, pour hot water on it and make tea.
Yes.
We drank it by the gallon.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes, and it's really not the same as cocaine, because cocaine is made with a process that involves solvents and gasoline and things like that. The coca leaf is the absolute purest form of this plant, and coca is really a medicine that the people in South America, Peru, and the high elevation areas, they use as a medicine, and it's used.
So they call it Bolivian marching powder.
Okay, yeah. Oh. Anyway, the indigenous people use it to fight elevation sickness because it helps you with the indigestion, it helps you to digest, because when you are a certain elevation, your body cannot digest food. If your body is not used to it, you just can't do it. And there is a lot of people that visits, high elevations in South America, and they just have an incredible hard time. And now we didn't have about a hard time. I couldn't barely breathe.
So we preloaded in Lima. We started there,
Yeah.
knowing we were going to be in Peru for quite some time. We preloaded there, and then as we flew into, I forgot the town, Juliaca. Before we went to the lake, we started drinking the tea,
Yes.
and it prevented altitude sickness.
Yes.
It was phenomenal.
Phenomenal. I mean, we took a boat to the floating islands in there, and then the same boat took us to Amantani island. And some people in there was kind of feeling iffy. And then when we stopped in one of the floating islands, the indigenous people gave us more tea, so people start feeling better. But you can see, I mean, you start to be very lethargic, like very tired. And I have a hard time, couldn't breathe, but couldn't breathe because of the ribs. But aside from that, I was fine. Anyway, so then from Lake Titicaca, we stay a night in there with an indigenous family. You saw our previous video, one of the previous video. You will see it. They were the sweetest people. They fed us. They gave us a place to sleep. They went with us all the way up there. Well, not all the way up there. She sort of walked with us part of the way, and she said, "Just keep going, and then
But we
come
have a
back."
guide to this.
Oh yeah, but we have a guy with that for that one part. She went with us all the way up?
No, the guy did.
I don't remember. Okay. Anyway, so we stayed there one night, and next morning we took another boat to mainland, and then we took another flight to Cusco. Then in Cusco, we did the Cusco thing that day, and then the following day, we took like a guide taxi through the Sacred Valley. And now, let's point out that we're in pain and all this time. It's just getting in the car, out of the car, going up, tying my shoes, everything was pain.
And we're at altitude.
And we're at altitude.
So it was pretty rough.
Yeah, it was rough. So then Cusco is not as high as Lake Titicaca, so that was kind of relief. But that first day in Cusco, I got so sick. Remember my stomach, I got like really sick. Anyway, so oh my God, tell me why I got sick, senor.
So interesting story. It's a little side story. We contacted a travel doctor ahead of time so that we could get some medication, some anti-parasitic medication.
Yes.
Coincidentally, it's hydroxychloroquine or hydrochloroquine.
Yes.
Which is something that
it's being used for COVID. Yeah, we're in the times of COVID right now.
Quite the topic right now.
Yeah.
But
it's used for dengue. No, it's also used for
dengue, malaria, Zika, a bunch of different parasitic issues.
And the thing is, when we were there, that's where our travel doctor told us, you guys need to be careful because there is a lot of dengue and malaria and this and that in South America right now, and the Zika thing, it was in full moon. This is in 2018, right? So during that time, that was a high thing. So we had to take with us some of this medicine. So we were taking this medicine on top of the coca leaves and the muña.
So
God, I got sick.
Here's the problem. If you're going to convert metric into standard, and you're doing it from Spanish to English, you need to get your numbers right.
Yes, she misled their numbers, and let's just say that it got explosive.
So we ended up taking like 10 times, because the decimal point was wrong, 10 times the amount of the medication we were supposed to.
Yeah.
So we both got kind of ill from that.
Very sick. Let's just say that we destroy a bathroom too. In this process.
So
Oh my
So
God.
do your math, and if you don't know Spanish, have somebody at the pharmacy
Yes.
interpret it for you.
But the funny thing about it also was that, so that first day in Cusco, that night I got sick, right? Then the next day I felt great. Next day I was taking my coca leaf and I stopped taking that medicine. I was taking the coca leaf and my muña and I was fine. It kind of washed off my stomach and it was okay. Now you need to, it needs to be big to destroy his stomach. So by the next day he was fine and he kept being fine for the rest of the trip, but no me. So we were in the Sacred Valley, blah, blah, blah. And then in the Sacred Valley, at one point the guy took us for lunch and we're cooey.
So we see these creatures
And we knew about it.
on the end of a stick, and I'm
knew.
like, I know what that is.
And you can see the pictures in here.
And we pull off the side, and
That's a cooey.
that's what we had for lunch,
Yes. They honestly taste like chicken.
like chicken wings.
Like chicken wings. They taste good. They are good. So then we kept going into,
But keep in mind, they leave the claws and the teeth.
yeah, it's kind of grotesque to eat it. It's cool. I mean, it's a cool cultural thing. And the place was great, very clean and stuff. It was nice. I mean, it's kind of not nice that they have the little cuis there running around and you're like, oh my God, they're so cute. And then they are in a stick, from the ass to the mouth and they're roasting them and oh my God, it's kind of
Full of herbs.
creepy. Anyway, so we kept going to, what was that town where you took the train?
I was calling.
No, that's the other town, the first town. Then we get something Mamantamo.
Oh, Ollantaytambo,
Ollantaytambo. I think
which
we
is on the
listened to-
Urubamba River.
Yeah, the Urubamba River. So from there, from that little town, which is so beautiful, it has ruins in the mountains that is really a fortress. And they have a ton of stories, and we stopped in a few.
We're getting a little off topic.
Yeah, I know, and a few fortresses. Anyway, so long story short story, we took the train. We went to from there. We took the train to Aguascalientes. That is the town, and you can see our previous videos. Is a town that is like the base camp for Machu Picchu. The train ride was absolutely beautiful. Hey, where's she got? Gato. Anyway, so from there, so we stayed there that night, and I got sick again, horrible. I think the cooey situation didn't settle down good, and I was really hoping to feel better by next day. So thankfully, the muña and the coca leaf just clears you out.
And we
from all
brought
that stuff.
plenty with us.
But the hotel had bunch of it.
No, all the candy. We brought candy and gum.
Oh yeah, we got candy and gum of the same thing plus the teas. We have our bottles of water and they were full of leaves and that was our water all day long. Anyway, so following morning, at 4 in the morning, we were in line to take the bus that takes you to Machu Picchu, which is like the town of Aguascalientes is here, and the river, what's the name of the river? The
Urubamba.
Urubamba River is here, and it's beautiful, and it has peaks everywhere. And honestly, at 4 in the morning, the place looks like out of Jurassic Park. It's so freaking beautiful. And then the clouds are like down, and you just see part of the peaks, and it's just so freaking cool. Anyway, so we went to Machu Picchu that next day. I feel great, blah blah blah. But I didn't feel great. At least I was not sick in my stomach, and we were in a lot of pain. And Brian was considerably getting slower and slower. Something was off with him. We couldn't figure out what it was, but everything seemed okay.
We just kept going with our trip.
Yes.
Knowing there probably was something wrong, we just kept pushing forward.
Yes. Then we did the whole Machu Picchu, and then we also climbed the Huayana Picchu, which is another, who knows how many hundreds of feet up, and a straight climb up.
Mm-hmm.
That was really painful, very exciting. You honestly feel like Indiana Jones doing it. It's really cool. Then, that day, at night, we took the train back to Cusco. And then the following day, we were in Cusco, did the Cusco thing, blah, blah, blah. And then we went to the Amazons.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the Amazons, we didn't need to drink Coke and leave anymore because you are almost at ocean level. Mm-hmm. So we were fine. We did the Amazons in there. We have fun. We were in a lot of pain, especially me. I mean, I could not get in and out of the canoes. At that point, I just was like in a lot of pain. And then we flew back. We stayed in the Amazons 4 days. 4 days. Flew back from Iquitos to Lima, then Lima, Mexico City. By the time we got back to Mexico City, his speed was very cloudy. Very, very cloudy. So then we got worried. So we spent that weekend on Mexico. We went to Teotihuacan, blah, blah, blah. We were in excruciating pain at that point.
Climbing up and down the ruins.
Yeah, climbing up and down the ruins was not fun. And I'm very thankful that my sister took us around and, you know, she was awesome. Anyway, so then we came back on Monday. Came back on Monday, but I needed to work. I needed to do something. I'm an architect and I needed to finish some things for my boss. And I sent him to the doctor because I was in pain. I had broken ribs.
So, to backtrack a little bit, we're sitting in the airport lobby, and I've got a headache. So I go to the convenience place, the little store, and I get some Motrin and some aspirin. I think it was aspirin. Mm-hmm. Take some aspirin because they didn't have anything else. And then within 2 or 3 hours, maybe, my pee went from cloudy to orange and bloody, and then I had a bruise on my neck that started growing.
Yeah.
So that was our concern, is flying home. We made it home, and then we decided to go to the doctor the next day.
Yes. So he went by himself, and he came back like all gloomy, and he said, Veronica is the name of our doctor. Veronica didn't want to have anything to do with us. She basically sending us to the Lincoln Hospital. And I'm like, the Lincoln Hospital, why? And he says, well, it's a trauma hospital. We were in a car accident. And I'm like, okay, well, let me finish what I'm doing and we go. And like any other man, no, it's okay, nothing happened, we're okay, we go another day. And I'm like, hell no, I'm finished this and we're going. So I finished what I needed to do. And like every man, I have to take him to the hospital, kicking and screaming. Everything was okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. So anyway, we got to the hospital and, you know, we were checking in and we're trying to tell the story to these people in the hospital, right? You know, we were in an accident. I have 2 broken ribs. We don't know what's wrong with him. He's being weird. And I think the next thing that happens because I said that in the accident, he broke my ribs with his elbow. And immediately after that...
So what was odd is they called Laura first
to
go to a room. And I'm like, can we be in the same room? And they said, absolutely not. And I thought that was odd.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, he's a fireman. He goes to the hospital every day with people. There's nothing wrong. It's not a weird request, you know, when your spouse goes with you to see the doctor, right?
Right. So they split us up.
Mm-hmm. And then they started asking me weird questions. And I couldn't understand the point of the questions, and I don't remember the questions. But then it clicked in my head. I mean, it was like there was a point where the nurse said, you know, you are in a safe environment in here, you're okay, we can help you. And I'm like, and then it clicked on my head what was going on. So they thought he was hitting me. And I'm like, whoa, no, you don't understand. He's not hurting me. We were in an accident in Mexico. And lucky me because I took photographs of the whole enchilada. I put my phone, look, and I pulled my phone and I showing him the pictures. This is what happened. We're in the highway. We have T-bone. he has his both hands like this, and with the impact, he broke my ribs. He couldn't avoid that. Give me a break. And then, I mean, she saw the pictures and she's like, oh my God. And she's like, oh my God. And it clicked on her head. You know that it was serious. So she said, hold on. So she picks up the phone and calls his doctor. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, they truly were in an accident. I'm looking at the pictures. It's bad. So then after that, everything showed up. MRIs, X-rays, blood tests, PTs, every test imaginable was done on us. I mean, they put us on the scanner, they X-rayed us, blah, blah, blah. And then at that point, I mean, they allow us to be in the same room together, right? Mm-hmm. The interesting thing is when they were putting me on the bed, you know, the hospital bed to scold me, to take, you know, how you say that, to when the doctor is doing this to you, helping me, blah blah blah. I needed help to lay down. I couldn't even get in the bed. I was in that much pain, and that was the whole trip. To sit, to get out of the chair, to go to bed, everything. I couldn't go down or up by myself. So then, you know, we were waiting for the results. We were in the same room. You know, there were nurses and doctors coming in and out, blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, so someone shows up, and this is a surgeon. I forgot what the term is. The ones that take care of the bones, what is the name? Like the guy that did my orthopedic surgery, right? So he shows up and he's like, okay, so question, how many ribs you think you have broken? And I said 2. I said, no, Missy, you have 5 broken ribs. 3 are shattered, like very shattered, 2 are completely broken. And then he started asking questions, what you guys did? How many planes did you do? Who, you know? And I mean, at that point, he was like, you have any idea how close you were from dying? And I'm like, what are you talking about? The ribs that are completely broken were like that close to perforate your lung. One of it, and the other one, like even less than that, to perforate your spleen. A little bit of a stronger hit, it would have meant that you have minutes to go in a helicopter to get surgery, or you will be dead. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, we were in Mexico. I would have been dead like in no time before even the police show up. A helicopter doesn't happen there. No. What are you talking about? So we dead. And then he says, well, and then you, Mr. Root, must be the strongest man I ever met. And I'm like, yeah, my kid thinks he's from Krypton. And he starts laughing. True story. If you knew how strong he is, it's just ridiculous.
So,
really ridiculous.
I took the hit. I tried to avoid the van. So I took the hit right in my door. The seatbelt was coming across my shoulder. So I had this big bump that started growing. And it probably got about the size of a lemon at one time. And then, as time went on, my urine turned cloudy, which was kind of an indication something was going on. So then they do an ultrasound, and they thought that it was just a bruised muscle. And the gal's like, oh yeah, you can just massage it. And then the doctor goes, absolutely do not. Well, come to find out it was a blood clot, and it had started growing again when I took aspirin.
Yes.
So what they discovered was I had a tear, I had a leaky EJ. So my external jugular actually had a little tear, and that big lump on the side of my neck was actually a blood clot. And because I took aspirin, it just started growing again. It started leaking.
Yeah.
So then they discovered also the reason for the cloudy urine was a kidney or bladder infection due to the blood from my kidney.
Yeah, she got a bruised kidney.
So it was potentially bad.
Yes. So in that moment, I mean, the doctors basically point us that we were in a near-death experience. That we almost died in this accident, and then we realized that we almost leave our kids orphans with the other parents all by themselves, and it was like a shock to us at that moment. And so that changed our whole idea on how to travel completely. We said, okay, we need to change our direction. If one of us goes, we all go. It sounds kind of weird to you guys, but we have reasons for that. So we explore ways to travel together as a family. So why you don't tell them why we explore? Because you're better on that.
So think about this. If you want to take a flight someplace, times 5 or 6 people, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Plus hotel.
Plus hotel, plus a rental van, because now we're at 6 people total.
And we need someone to take care of the dogs and the cat.
So our trip cost to go as a family would have just been phenomenally expensive.
Exactly. Anyway,
so we decided, okay, instead of doing that, we're going to road trip. And we started shopping. We started shopping for vans, for fifth wheel trailers, so on and so on and so on. So we looked at vans, we looked at a couple different types of vans, like
the Sprinter ones.
Like the big Ford or Chevy vans. And those were too small. They would haul us where we need to go, but there'd be no place for 6 of us to live.
Yeah.
It would just be able to store our stuff while we're traveling, but then we would end up camping.
Or stay in hotels.
So then we thought the Sprinter vans. So then we started looking at those, and those were incredibly expensive. The cheapest ones we found were 40 to 60 for old used ones, and newer ones were upwards of 80.
And they're nice and all if there is a couple that is traveling, but we're 6. So
it would still end up being the same thing. A few of us could sleep inside, but the rest are going to sleep outside camping.
yeah.
So then we thought about fifth wheels. Okay, great, because you can get a pretty decent fifth wheel with pop out, so on and so on. And their starting cheap ones are 40 to 50,000, upwards to 100,000.
Yes.
But that's all fine, but you need a vehicle to tow it. So there's another 80 grand for a big diesel pickup truck to tow a big giant trailer that's going to haul enough gear, food, water, and everything for 6 people.
Yes.
So that literally got
Shut down right now.
way too expensive. So then we started shopping for RVs. And we found cheap, and I mean cheap as in the lowest we found, a decent diesel RV was 50 grand.
Yeah.
And it had, I don't know,
It was from the 80s, and we needed
200,000 miles on it already.
Yes, and we needed to put another $10,000-$20,000 in remodels because it looks like a throw up from the 80s.
So back and forth, back and forth. Then we miraculously stumbled onto something.
Yes, we found something else. I don't know how we did it. There's another another
It's a different direction.
different direction that we never even thought about it or considered it before.
We even thought about like box trucks, like
Yes.
UPS trucks or bread trucks or even the box delivery trucks.
Yes, the
or
FedEx trucks, things like that. But nothing kind of fit us, nothing kind of appealed to us. They were too small or too big or whatever. So then we found this idea and we just talked about it and we explored the idea. I did some drawings and we realized that was perfect, just perfect.
And you think you're going to find out this episode, don't you?
No, you don't. Sorry. You need to watch the next video to see what we decide to do. So thank you for hanging out with us in this video. Give us a big thumbs up. You won.
Like, subscribe, all the stuff that everybody says.
Blah, blah, blah. Consider subscribing if you haven't done so. And until next time. Adios, amigos.
See you next time.
Thank you for hanging out with us today. Please give us a big thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't done so yet. And until next time, hasta luego, amigos.